Bitcoin's open interest has reached a new all-time high of $44.5 billion dollars, aimed at price decline, signaling increased leverage and a higher risk of market volatility and liquidation. So after this came up, it made me realize what we saw happen over the last 2 days, and everything is starting to make sense. As you watch the dominance over the last 2 days, increase quite substantially, while BTC was pretty much ranging, around the $118,000. And I did say, this is mainly due to manipulation, in my opinion. And now that these open interest numbers have come up, it explains what's really happening. The leverage future positions are insanely high, 44.5 billion. And if you understand market makers, you do expect that there is going to be obviously that manipulation aspect to it to shake out these futures positions. And this is why I am totally against leverage trading, to begin with. If you've been following the channel from day one, you guys know, Crypto ZX is totally against leverage trading. And if you're new to this space, I would strongly suggest you to stay away from it. Obviously, if you have done your due diligence research and are wanting to get exposure into altcoins or whichever coin that you like, spot buy and actually hold. Future trading, there's too much volatility and of course manipulation, which can wipe out your positions. But enough with the rant, let's get into the topic. So if you're looking at the broader market, we're seeing the market picking up, which is amazing to see going into Saturday. XRP up about 2.5% on the USD side of things. But if you're looking at the price, $3.18 up 1.3% in Bitcoin comparative, a valuation at $188 billion dollars, and the 24-hour trading volume at about 5.7 billion, which has decreased compared to yesterday. So that's something we can kind of take away as we are going further into this analysis. But before we get into any further, as always, just a quick disclaimer: anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. So we did see a retracement for Bitcoin yesterday, how we retested the $115,000 price point. But look at the ETF flows, guys. Just look at the ETF flows. Around 1,100 Bitcoin and 122,000 Ethereum were bought. So in terms of dollar amount, 130 million in Bitcoin and about 452.8 million in Ethereum. So Ethereum inflows has been outpacing Bitcoin inflows by a massive margin, and that really shows you the interest that Ethereum really has for itself. So again, we've looked for these confirmations, and this is something that we want to obviously keep in mind. But look at what Zoom says: XRP next stop $3.80 to $4 zone. Obviously, this would obviously put the all-time high. There's a lot of people that are waiting for the unofficial all-time high to be retested. This would pretty much end that debate. We came very close to it, but this is what Zoom says. This books all the way up to that zone. Should move to that zone relatively quickly once bulls find momentum, highly likely to take place within the next 2 weeks. And of course, I'm going to take a look at our charts when I pull out the charts and kind of put this into perspective and really see how could this play out. So look at this. German blockchain VC firm CEO Oliver Michael says XRP could become the world's reserve bridge currency. Ripple's role in the new digital financial system is gaining serious traction. And, kind of piggybacking on this, look at this right here. A popular financial markets commentator suggests that many people are underestimating XRP's potential to become a store of value after this cycle tops. Zach Rector expressed this view in a recent post on X. According to him, crypto enthusiasts could turn to XRP as a store of value after the current market cycle reaches its top. This suggests that after the current market cycle peaks, with several assets reaching new highs, investors may shift their capital to XRP to preserve these gains. For context, Bitcoin is currently the only cryptocurrency widely regarded as a store of value. The premier cryptocurrency shares key traits with traditional store of value, such as scarcity, durability, portability, and its recognized value as a hedge against inflation. Interestingly, Rector believes that XRP could also emerge as a store of value After the market cycle tops, this elevates XRP to the role of digital gold, mental many have given to Bitcoin. Despite XRP's prospects as a store of value, Rector suggests that people are still underestimating the likelihood of that happening anytime soon. I want to kind of talk about what this really means, and I want to share my personal thoughts with you. It kind of goes back to what we've discussed on my channel before. Remember, the 4-year cycle gets thrown around a lot lately, especially recently, as we are starting to see the market going into the bull trend again. You do see that 4-year cycle always come up. And if you have hear me talk about the 4-year cycle, I've emphasized one specific thing. We're still going to see 99% of the coins, being impacted quite negatively when the bear market starts. I think the 4-year cycle could potentially come to an end for utility-based projects. So projects that have real-world use case, and XRP is one of them, in my opinion. And with institutional interest coming in at record levels, obviously, we've spoken about it in the past, where you are seeing companies really coming on board and actually, raising funds to have XRP on their balance sheets. That tells you something. So that, from that aspect, maybe like let's say you do see this bear market go crazy, and people have multiple coins in their portfolio, and they lock those profits in. I understand what Rector is saying. Pretty much what Rector is trying to tell us is that when people do lock in profits, they're going to put that back into the likes of Bitcoin or XRP, because these projects would hold better and won't be impacted much by the bear market. And I somewhat agree with that. With the way XRP held, pretty much throughout the year before we saw this major breakout, XRP was consolidating in the 38.2 Fibonacci retracement level, while the entire market was, moving, pretty much back and forth, quite a bit of volatility. And again, that kind of is something that I always keep in mind, and I think I want you guys to kind of keep that into consideration as well. But do let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. So 35 million XRP transferred, worth 107.5 million. Are whales preparing for something big? Do let me know your thoughts down below in regards to that. Shout out to Chad. Only a few stablecoins license will be permitted in Hong Kong under the new law by the HKMA, which goes into enforcement on August 1st. Ripple has been part of the policy process, RLUSD. Remember, when they launched this, these guys thought everything strategically. Regulatory compliance aspect was their main focus. So here we have it, one other example where RLUSD could really shine. But now let's talk about the price. If you're looking at the dominance, it's continuing to pull down. Obviously, on July 24th, we did go up to the 62.5%, which explains what I discussed with you guys about the open interest. But you're starting to see the dominance pulling down once again. BTC sitting at about 117,500, looking amazing. Bitcoin is pretty much ranging around this level, not bad. But now let's take a look at what's happening with XRP. XRP is currently sitting at $3.18. Of course, we have not yet reached our yearly high, but let's go back to what Zoom says. Zoom is targeting $3.80. How much of a move would that be? So a $3.80 XRP is only about a 20% increase, and a $4 price point would be about a 26.53%. But first and foremost, we need to really get back above this key range around the $3.40 level, and that itself is about a move of about 6.8%. So about a 6.8%, I do personally project that, we get to this level, see a little bit of a rejection around this range, because it is a significant key resistance. But if we're able to turn this into support, I do personally believe we could really start seeing things pick up quite fast, because there's not much significant resistance after that. So that's something I want you guys to keep in mind. Let's see what happens if dominance falls below this range and starts heading towards 60%. I think this could happen way quicker than 2 weeks. Obviously the FOMC meeting is coming up this week, but I think things can really switch much faster. But we gotta get back above this range first, and then we'll take it from there. Let me know down below what you guys think. We'll see you later in Crypto ZX, and peace out.